You have questions, we have answers. This is Jane Miller.
And this is Ken Miller. Welcome to our show, all about real estate with Ken and Jane. Today we have as our guest Andrew Zastko. He's the broker owner of Century 21 Gloria Zastko Realty and the newly elected president of the All Jersey MLS. Andrew, big welcome to our show.
Well, thank you very much. And happy holidays.
And
happy holidays. That's
yes,
right.
Yes,
that's
we're
right.
Definitely in the holiday season. That is so cool. So again, congratulations on being elected the president of the All Jersey MLS.
Well,
and before we get into that part, briefly share with us your journey in real estate, because
otherwise we'll be here the whole day.
Otherwise we wouldn't have. We'd run out of recording material.
That's what I was going to say. It takes a little bit of.
You have a lot of experience. You've been a very respectable broker owner for many years. Your mom was in the industry, and you volunteered a lot of your time as you're back to the real estate community. So you want to share with us a little bit about
absolutely.
Your journey.
So the interesting thing is, as you mentioned before, Gloria Zastko, she's my mother and also was in the industry, started in 1972.
Wow.
A while back. So as a child growing up, I never saw her, right? So I never really wanted to even think about going into real estate. As it turned out, post-graduation from college, I went into corporate world, and I realized this is not where I really want to proceed my whole future. Mm-hmm. And I went with her, and I had the greatest mentor, I think, in the industry. Mm-hmm. And at that time I got bit by the bug, and I always learned one thing, or many things, but something that really resonates, that, again, one deal doesn't make your career, it could ruin it, and it's all based upon a very long-term relationship.
Yeah.
And that's what our business is built upon, and of course, Gloria had passed a little over 10 years ago, and we continue to carry the torch, and we just recently celebrated in the Ides of March of this year our 35th anniversary, and we're very proud and humbled to have the opportunity of touching so many clients' lives and communities. So very proud of it, and it's the greatest industry I could ever think of.
Yeah, it's remarkable. How was your mom as a boss? Was she a tough boss?
You know what?
Stern with you?
She was one thing, her way.
Okay.
Or the highway.
And it was, you learn a lot by that, and that's the experience comes from doing, and if you do it right, just little common sense things, which are something it's something that's not taught in a book at that point.
Yeah, the respect, you have to earning the client's trust, and the respect. Those things are intangibles.
And do the right thing.
And we continue with
right
it, from the just simplicity to, I like to believe in the formula of keep it simple, stupid.
I like that formula too.
Because when the more you goobly gob it, it doesn't work, right? There's a start of an A and there's a finish to a Z in any industry, and that's what it's based upon.
I had a pleasure of knowing your mom when I was a new agent. So I remember the first time I met her was at your broker open. So Caroline Bars and I came in because Caroline know your family very well. She said, let me introduce my new girlfriend, Jane. So that was really cool. That was really nice,
And she probably had the image of being very tough and rough, right?
To be honest, the first time I met her, I was a little scared.
Right.
Because I was new in the business. I tried to give people good impression, but I just wanted to do anything stupid, so I was a little bit, You
were more reserved than Jane normally would be.
But she was probably the kindest and most generous person out there.
Once I know
her. She would
her,
always help people.
Yes.
And the thing is that one thing she didn't like was laziness.
Yes.
Yes. Which kind of resonates, right? Because we see the industry, and being in it so much,
Yeah.
But if she was always very helpful. If you were a new agent,
once you know her, that's a difference.
She basically helped you run it from start to finish to the closing table.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So over the last 30 years, the industry has gone through a lot of changes with regulations, technology. What do you see as the most significant changes in the industry? I mean, at the end of the day, it's a people industry. So how do you feel these changes have impacted or?
Well, that's a good question, Ken. Like any business, every year has a challenge to it, right? Yes. I think we spoke a little bit offline
a couple
weeks
you.
ago.
Anytime I have a question or anytime I'm concerned about something, I know one number. I just tell that number.
And with all these rule
talk to-
changes and changes to the forms
Yeah.
and things, that I mean, you almost have to be an attorney to really understand it. Even the attorneys
Even
were
attorney
confused.
doesn't know.
absolutely.
Yeah, with all the due to the NAR settlement and the lawsuits and things, and with the disclosure. So it's really I mean, that's a more recent
Probably
thing.
the two things that really stand out to me in a career has been really that post-COVID era
Yeah.
and the recent NAR settlement. And, it's definitely, what the good thing is the seasoned agents, right, have been able to, again, adapt to that new landscape and environment. But it was one in which COVID changed so much of industry, not just our real estate industry, but just in general. Even if you recall, where people were just remote all the time in corporate. That's kind of changing now. People are coming back in, but I can remember, and you probably could say the same thing. In offices, you would have anywhere from 5, 6 to 26 agents in your office at one given time during
Yes.
COVID.
Yeah.
Or prior to COVID. Now, it's
Nobody-
it's
You don't have an
kind of
office that can
it's
sit
quiet,
26 people
and
because-
unfortunately, that energy or that rainmaking, right, is lost because you don't have that that kind of collaboration and synergy that you would have when you were meeting with face to face. For example, Jane would come in with a listing and she would talk it out. Somebody next door to her would say, "Oh, I know Carolyn has a buyer for that."
Yes.
So that juice and that energy, unfortunately, has kind of like lackluster. And of course, the NAR settlement brought in a lot of different things and nuances with, the exclusive buyer agreements and separation of our listing as far as compensations on the MLS.
Right.
We worked through it. It's still sometimes a little tongue twister with people, but I think the consumers are starting to understand it, and that's where it's about right now.
I think, Andrew, I agree with you, but also I think technology make that change too. Because I remember 16 years ago when I was a brand new agent, right? I used to. I was crazy, as you know. Remember, I sent you a offer at 2:00 in the morning. A fax,
he got
fax,
that the next
fa-
day,
fax.
but-
Yeah, he got next day, and then after home inspection, we had the issue, and then Andrew asked me, "Is your buyer still excited?" I said, "Night we use that offer at 2 a.m."
Well, that's
that
there's
was like-
still that cooling off period.
Yeah, that's-
especially now with
Yeah.
it's coming to part about changes in the market and industry.
Yeah.
We're experiencing that right now, Ken.
Yeah.
The first probably 6 months of the year are completely different than the last 6 months of the
Yes,
year. We've seen a shift whereby you're starting to see days on market longer on listings,
Yeah.
Yes.
price reductions on listings at that point, people taking their homes off the market. Doesn't mean that the market's not a good market. It's just that sometimes you have to set real expectations for the seller up front.
Right. Not every home is getting under contract within 2 weeks. So the expectation has to be advised to the seller that they have to soften, lengthen.
And
their
that comes from the professional.
That comes
Yeah,
from the
I
professional,
think
yeah.
it's like the time, right? It's really also that's very strongly associated with the pricing, right? I mean, often people, you've been this route for many cycle. I only been here for one a bit cycle, right? I mean, a lot of people in 2007, 2008 will say, "Andrew, I would get that number. I got number last year. What's wrong with you? I want more, right? I'm not hiring you for less." But the market actually continued going down.
Well, that was a different market.
Yeah, and now I think it's like a lot of the seller will say, "My neighbor sold that number." I said, "Well, maybe the market already reached the peak. Now we are
Right.
coming down."
But are we? That's
I
a good
don't even
question.
think
That's-
I don't even think it's coming down. I think it's expectations, right?
Yes.
Sometimes the seller may get a little too zealous, and you have to say if this water bottle just sold for $6, you can't ask $8.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just because you put a new cap on,
A new roof,
you
right,
know,
like a new
at
roof.
that
Not
point.
only roof, I
But
put a new
if you
new
put it on,
curtain.
if you put it on at 6, it'll be taken.
Yes,
right. So the
I
market's
totally
still very
agree.
strong
Yes. Well,
I
because
think
we
so,
still
yeah.
have limited inventory.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's more inventory that are recycled inventory coming back on the market deals and that. It's always going to bring a challenge, but the market is still a completely different market
Yes.
than where we had that change of that
Yes.
financial
Yeah.
era.
And the market really, since COVID, it really never corrected itself. It went up. The homes on average went up 25 to 30% or more in some cases.
So-
And now it's really, maybe it's stabilized. Maybe they're not going up. They're not jumping that dramatically, but they're still holding pretty well. And the only thing that might be more negotiable now is that the buyers may not be so inclined to waive the appraisal contingency and be as lenient on the home inspection issues. I feel that, I mean, you guys do
Yes.
the residential, I do commercial, but that's what I gather from Jane, that you're getting a little more resistance on some of the points that the buyers were, quote, yielding to in the past.
I have never seen in my, it'll be my 40 years coming in October of next year. I have never seen a lot of different markets, seen a lot of different cycles, a lot of things, but I have never seen as much wealth injected from the post-COVID era.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is that we had 25, 30 offers on one house at one given time because of live-in inventory and such a need for people coming in and, capturing that American dream. But the reality was the ones that won the bid were the ones that had cash or waiving the appraisals.
Right.
Again, because think about it. If you were an appraiser, Ken, how could you, again, appraise a property that just closed a month ago for X dollars, and now you want to appraise it for this? People were waiving the appraisals, proof of funds. So it's tempering now, which is a good thing because if it continued down that route, we would have a real challenge. It's already challenging with affordability. We see it constantly right now in the industry.
Right.
Yes. The price went up so much since 2019. I think anywhere between 35 to 50%, depends how much you bought.
Yeah.
at. It's crazy.
The fundamentals were there leading up to the COVID period of 18, 19 because we had limited inventory, but then we had that complete pause for several months and just the cork came out of the bottle. And here we are. Most, again, surrounding communities here have seen from that 20 period anywhere from appreciation, let's just call it 35% to 65% appreciation.
Yeah.
That's not a normal market.
No, that's not a normal market, right?
That's not a normal.
Once in
That market
lifetime.
was built upon, not breath on a mirror like we had at that 2000 to 2006 with no qualification.
Yeah.
A lot of skin in the game.
But looking ahead to 2026, do you foresee that there's going to be a correction to the market due to that increase?
Here's what I foresee. I foresee, especially as we get into a 5% environment with interest rates, right? The reason that we've had such limited inventory is because one thing, the rates were low for so long.
Right.
Everybody that, again, refinanced before that, that time frame or bought during that period of that 20 to 22 period, locked into a 2.5% to 3%, 3.5% rate. A lot of families, although there's a lot of equity in their homes, there's a lot of higher end that they're going to move into price point. But if they were into that 7% environment of a rate and they had 3, they didn't want to move. They were holding their loaf of bread under their arms.
Yeah.
As we start to see that going into that 5, even high 5, the bell's going to ring. It's going to be time. I think you're going to have other challenges, right? The agents have said, gosh, there's nothing to show. Now there's going to be a lot to show because there's going to be more inventory. So pricing moving forward is going to be even more critical.
Critical
Yes,
than
I
right.
agree.
Because
More
it's going to be
critical.
more
I agree.
competitive.
You don't want to be in the middle of everything that's not
Yes.
selling.
Yep.
You need to be where it needs to be and let the market come to you.
Yes.
I put a home on the market the other day, and it was compellingly priced.
Yep.
And this was listed first day Saturday. We had an open house Saturday, Sunday, even with the snow, and people came. Called highest and best yesterday. We have 11 offers.
Oh, wow.
And it's
So
going to probably exceed about $55,000 up.
And that's why the pricing is like, it goes back
Right
to the price. It was
pricing.
competitively priced, and that yielded it. Right. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after these messages. Stay with us. Okay, welcome back. So, Andrew, you've been a long-time volunteer and leader within the industry. What has motivated you to dedicate so much of your time to volunteering and giving back to the real estate industry?
Well, Ken, I always believe that, the industry has been so good to me, both on a professional and personal level, that I believe in giving back to our industry at that point. I have been, as you mentioned before, now the new president of All Jersey MLS, but this is my third term.
I think so.
And that leads to my next question too. What personally, what motivated you at this stage in your career to want to take on the responsible role of being president for the third time?
Well, the thing is that I've been involved in the board of All Jersey MLS, our multiple listing system, for over 30 years. And it's great to have that collaboration. We have so many fine, dedicated, and devoted, again, directors, committee members, and our MLF staff. So being part of that industry that's for the better of the whole is why it's really driven me to continue with it, on that end. And I'm passionate, as much as I'm passionate with my own personal, again, work, I'm also passionate upon being part of our, again, organization. Sure. And I've been there a long time, and I've seen it go from smaller membership on my first term, which was about 3,500 members, to right now about 9,500 members.
Wow.
And at one time, we had about 300 offices. Now we have over 1,000 offices.
Wow.
So continue to see the growth of our industry as a good reflection upon, again, the people that are part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think for Andrew, besides what you have been doing, all this great work for the real estate industry, you are such a good example, good mentor. I mean, good for new agent, as well as you give so much back to the community in general. So that's really, I learned a lot from you guys.
Well, it's, as I said before, everybody has to start somewhere.
Yep.
And to have some offices don't have, unfortunately, as good training.
Yeah.
And
unfortunately.
And when I see all people come in with offers, I don't throw them to the wall. I try to assist them and help them, and continue to. It's like anything. Yourself, writing a deal, and not following through with it, you're not going to the closing table and helping your clients, right?
Yes.
So it's always facilitating that process. And when I call an agent, if it's on my list side and they're representing the buyer on the buy side, and I ask on certain things, where have you collected the deposit money?
Yes.
Let's make sure the attorneys or title company sends out an escrow letter, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You dot your I's and cross your T's.
Because whenever you don't, it comes back to bite you in the.
This is this is not playland, right? This is for some people, it's one of the most highest financial things that they do, and probably most stressful, next to maybe marriage, divorce, or death, right?
Yeah.
So take it very serious. So when I go through things with these agents and other people, we do it and they learn from it.
Yeah.
And, I would like to think that's touches their lives as well and makes them a better agent in the end.
Definitely you touch mine. So I still remembered that time Andrew Zastko is the number one in the whole county,
There's
right?
There's a lot of great agents.
I call up for a question. I mean, I was a new agent, obviously a stupid question, right? I call up for something.
Right.
And he called back when I answered the phone, and and he said, I was really started. I said, let me stop the car. So that's where I found out Pine Meadow was, because I was on the road. I saw a little street. I said, let me pull. I pull in there and I had a conversation. I never forget, because a lot of agents, right? They don't want to talk to a new agent.
Well,
So they don't want to waste the time. But I learned so much from you. I still praying. I wish I have your patience.
You're an example of what agents should do to follow the code of ethics to the T.
Yes.
Because you give respect to your, obviously you give your
It's above and
zealousness to the
beyond.
clients. You give respect and integrity and fairness, fair dealings with the agents.
Above and beyond.
Above and beyond.
Above and
everything,
beyond.
Which is,
That's
you're really
inspired
a
me
role
to be
model
a
for
good
what a
agent.
good agent
Yes.
should do, because you do it.
Yeah.
You hit all the marks.
thank you. Thank you very much. It's funny, though, a lot of times, and you'll get the same thing because you're a heavy lister as well, and many times the buyer's agent will ask you, is one of the offers yours?
Yeah.
And most certainly you'll say, if it's not yours, it's one of my associates in my office, right? So sometimes you could hear them just kind of fall down, they're thinking they have no chance. But the bottom line is, it's always a fiduciary.
Right.
Yes,
And doing the
absolutely.
best by that fiduciary. So if that if that other offer is the better offer for
Yep.
the fiduciary, that's the offer. So when I call back someone and tell them, congratulations, you have the deal,
And they're shocked.
they
think
don't
that-
believe it.
Yeah,
But the reality is, you treat it as a profession with the understanding who your client is, right?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
the bottom
I
line.
100% agree.
Yeah.
I every time I see Andrew Zastko listing agent when I have a buyer, I know I have a better chance.
There's
because
fairness,
I
there'll be
know
fairness.
how you present it,
Yeah.
how you work. That's very important.
And to your point, that's
Yeah.
the code of ethics.
Ethics.
Yes,
right.
absolutely.
There's 17 articles, I think, but
And that's how you
all-
survive in an industry.
Yeah,
Yes.
you have to. Yeah, because you're going to have long-term relations with the other agents, so you have to treat them fairly and respectfully,
Yeah.
and answer their calls, texts, and get back to people. There's nothing
Lot
worse
of-
than somebody that doesn't get back to you
No.
for feedback. Even if the feedback is negative, you at least want to know so you can better advise your client.
I always
right?
find the busiest person is the one that does the most.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's
And
right.
always does, simple things,
Simple-
get back to
Yeah.
the people.
Yeah.
Just
common courtesies.
it's a simple thing, it's
Yeah.
the golden rule.
Yeah, the golden
That's where,
rule. Exactly,
Unfortunately,
that's one of the-
people don't learn that in a book.
Yeah, you learn it from
but
your
they
family.
should have it. That foundation is critical.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the All Jersey MLS for the benefit of the listeners out there that aren't in the real estate industry. What is the purpose of the All Jersey MLS, and what does it do? How does it best serve the
Sure.
real estate industry for this?
So it's a lot of it is really on true data, right? That's the big part, real estate data. And the reality is for the agent to have that information that provides the opportunity for the listings themselves to be shared amongst, again, other offices. So there's that cooperation amongst each other. And to have that real data is a scenario where now that agent is the ability to, again, coming up with true value, right? Whether they're representing the seller or if the buyer is questioning and the buyer's agent, they can look deep into what's happening in the marketplace. So it's that sharing, again, of the knowledge is what we end up doing at that point. That's the big part of it.
Yeah, I have a question. It's not related to MLS or anything. Just like, what do you see the AI, how AI influence our...
That was one of the questions. But yeah,
Sure.
let's
Yeah.
talk about AI,
Yeah.
the positive role it can have, and then also as a competition to our industry.
Well,
and-
we have our office is always embracing, our organization, different forms of again technology, and AI is one tool that we are using as well for a lot of the hyper local market analysis that we have. We also have right now to make a stream easier. There's a new partnership that our organization has. It's called OcuCell. I don't even know if you know it or not.
I don't know.
And what that is a multiple one-stop MLS input. So, for example, as more people get on board, meaning more MLSs,
Yeah.
you're going to be able to not have to just put it into All Jersey and then have to go into another MLS and another MLS. Now you could just put it in one as long as they become, again, embracing it as well,
Embrace the
and
OcuCell
everybody's
platform.
going to be able to do it. So it has more exposure to the listings.
Oh,
That's
I think
how-
that's really-
that's a time saver
It's
thing,
a-
which is a good
exceptional.
We used
So
to
you
have
don't-
to put,
'cause
we
you said-
still put
you-
a
you said
different
put it like
MLS.
in All Jersey, then-
It's starting to come. There's a
And then going-
couple. I can't divulge
No,
everything
no,
that's
no.
there, but there is. I know our organization's involved in it, and there's two others that are. So you're going to start to see it
Yeah.
in a real time, probably
Wow.
sometime in the spring of 26.
Oh, that's
really
good because
cool.
we have to
That'll-
manually put them in.
And-
Right.
Yeah.
That's an AI type run platform where there's a company that offers a software that is AI driven in the essence that it can take that information and correlate it and put it into the
And then we
State or-
also have different tools like Cuba Casa, which is again, I don't know if you've used it or not, but a lot of agents that may not have the ability or financials that want to do as much of the floor plans and they don't want to have a outside vendor do it. It's a simple thing. You could do it on your phone and you walk around just
Yeah.
the perimeter and you'll see your floor plans of the property. The technology that's available to the agents, unfortunately, technology is only as good as the people that use
That's
it, right?
right.
Use it,
Yeah.
right?
So, you could have all the AI and everything else and this and that and everything else, but it still boils down to, again, using that platform and having the ability and working. I don't think AI or anything's really going to take the place of, of yourself, at
Yes.
that point.
Right.
I think in the past, a lot of agent was worried when the internet came, right?
Oh,
because it
sure.
used to be, I heard, I only been in business 16 years. So I heard used to be the real estate agent had the little book. You got to go to the office
I heard
to
there was
see
used
the
to be,
book.
or they would drop it off on a weekly basis, probably when your mom was in the industry. In the
I remember
70s.
it.
The book, they would come up with the new listings. There'd be like
I was in it.
of the
Appraisers used to come in. We had the comparable books. They came
Yeah.
out twice, through our MLS. They came out twice a month. So
Yeah.
they would come into your office and say, "Can I have a little bit of look-see at your books?" And we would
Wow.
share it to them. But there were a lot of offices that were closed. They said, "No one come through the doors. We're not going to allow it." But you kind of have to think about it. You're going to meet that appraiser in the fields at
Yeah,
one time
that's
or
right.
not. So be nice to people,
Yeah.
right? It just
Exactly,
goes
right.
back to just,
Yeah.
doing right,
Yeah.
at that
Andrew's
point.
always a gentleman. I mean, that's ever grateful.
But some
Always
things don't change.
kind.
Real estate has been and still is a people business, and signs, open house signs, for sale signs on the lawn, those are things that have been in place for many, many 50 years or as far back as real estate goes. Those things still stay. And
The basics
they still
are-
can generate,
The
interest.
basics are still there,
There.
and I think it's like for something, and I don't coin it, but it was the old 10-10-20 rule. And what does that mean? That means, like, for example, if you're hosting an open house, right, you don't want to get there if it's at 1, 5 after 1. You want to take the time
Yeah.
to go,
You get there at 12:30.
or even better.
Yeah.
Go on a Saturday if you're an agent, and I have the agents hosting my open houses for one reason. I want them to do well. As they grow, we all
Yes.
grow, right? But do the right things. In other words, you tell them or you explain to them, take a brochure, go to a neighbors, to the neighbors in the area the day before, invite them in. You do 10 to the left, neighbors, 10 to the right, and 20 across the street. That's the old Weichert rule, right? But not many people follow it.
No.
But if you do those simple things, right,
I
without
learned
a
that
lot of
rule.
money,
Yeah.
right, and not a lot of AI, it's
Yeah.
still personal touch,
right?
Yeah.
Which people
Yeah.
We are in a
appreciate.
people business.
Yeah.
I always tell my agents, real estate is a contact business,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
The more people you contact
Yeah.
and touch, the better opportunities
And they
you're
want
going
that
to
personal
have.
touch.
Right?
They don't want the digital. Not
And
necessarily.
just understanding the knowledge, studying the MLS, seeing what's going on. When you do a hot sheet every day, we don't just have it there for just being up on the screen. It's educating the agents,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Letting them know that, the market may be shifting here.
Yes.
We have 25 new listings, but we have 11 that are back on the market and 19 that had price reductions.
Yes.
Right? So that's different than it
Good
was maybe
signal.
5 months ago, 6 months ago.
Yeah, you got to
Understanding training.
trend and
Right?
recognizing trends or what
So we
could be-
try to do that in educational as well with our office. And we're going to do more of that in my presidency as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was going to say we're almost out of time, but as the last question, as president, what are your top priorities for the All Jersey MLS for the we'll just say for 2026?
Well, I think the big things that we're going to be doing and with the industry is going to be, continuing with innovative tools that are going to help the agents in real time at that point. And I think the big thing as well to try to have, we have a thing called our library, and it talks about market snapshots. And the more that the people, and then we try to have it on the, news feeds, study these things, become aware of it. Data is critical. Statistics are critical. Not that you need to be, an engineer to understand it, but you just need to have some common sense to see that things are changing, right?
Yeah.
And the more that you're embracing the change, the better that you're going to be able to thrive in a changing marketplace. And that's
Yeah.
what we look to do here.
That's what agents have to realize too. They shouldn't run away from the change or be scared of it. They have to embrace it and get familiar with how to do the floor plans, how to embrace the new technology and use it to your advantage.
Absolutely.
that's what we
This
expect.
this is the last show
Show.
of 2025.
And we are all out of time, and we had Andrew most appropriately as our guest.
Well,
'cause
thank you very
embraced
much.
everything in the
Please
industry.
give your phone number
yeah, please
because
give your-
Andrew is one, the one of the best,
We'll just say the ace of the-
yeah,
one of the
thank you.
aces.
experienced
We'll say
agent
there's a
in
deck
the
of
Central
aces, but
Jersey.
We'll give you an ace. We'll call you an ace. How's that?
So our office, Century 21 Gloria Zastko Realty, is located in North Brunswick, New Jersey. We're off of Route 130, and our office number is 732-297-0600. And we look forward to, again, assisting you with your real estate needs in the future. And again, to you guys, happy, healthy, prosperous 2026.
Thank
Likewise,
you. Thank
Andrew.
you.
Happy
Likewise.
New Year to you, and make sure it's a safe one, too. All
Yeah,
right, guys?
thank you.
Thank you so much for being our guests again. For our listeners, we want to wish you all a very happy, healthy, and safe New Year, and we'll see you next year. Be
Thank
safe.
you.